This is a collaboration with Vickie from Home Educating the Mad Lads and Maria from the Richardson Simple Living. So please head on over and watch the other videos in this playlist. And this collaboration is actually hosted by Vickie, so thank you Vickie. I appreciate you messaging me and getting me involved in this. And it's called Homeschool 101. And the first topic for discussion is read alouds. And now I don't have a set read aloud plan ever for my children. It's not set in stone. I do, however, have an extensive home library. No doubt you've seen it in a couple of other videos. They're everywhere, all over this house. Books everywhere. So 9 times out of 10, I find it quite easy to link a book or find a book that will link in whatever topic the children are currently discovering. And I feel reading together regularly can never be overstated. It can never be overvalued. It's so important. And I also feel it's important for children to see their parents reading for fun too. So I read an awful lot. It is a huge passion of mine. And I am hoping that some of my children may eventually inherit that passion. However, that's down to them, and I don't apply any pressure to them in that way, shape or form. They're each their own person. For reading skills, Nimue is currently working through the Janet and Peter books, and you may have saw them in our Vlogmas videos. And she is actually enjoying these. She does enjoy reading them to me, and we'll probably do them once or twice, maybe 3 times a week. I do, however, read storybooks with her spontaneously. So if she suddenly comes over with a book that she wants reading to her, I'll read it to her there and then. And she does appreciate a good bedtime story as well. More so recently, she never used to, but more so recently she's been requesting that I read to her before bed too. So that's been quite nice, to be honest with you. And that's been a natural progression that she's initiated herself through the sheer enjoyment of being read stories. And the Grimm's fairy tale books are always a big hit here. Whether we're at home or we're around the campfire, they always go down well. And I always try and adapt them to make them a bit more age appropriate where needed. However, I think reading aloud should be about reading for pleasure and instilling that enjoyment in our children. So, though it may be controversial, when we're doing story time or anything like that, I don't actually force my children to sit still. They can walk around, they can do whatever, as long as they can even colour in while I'm reading. I honestly don't mind, as long as they stay present in the room and, you know, they try and engage with the story. And if it ever gets to the point where they've had enough, then fair enough, I'll just close the book and we'll pick it up another time. There's honestly no pressure, because I feel that pressure can sometimes have a negative effect with children. They need to enjoy the reading, and that's the whole point of doing story time and read aloud with them, is to bring that story to life, make it enjoyable for them, make them immersed in it and feel a part of it, and make it fun. It's a time for them to engage with the characters, the storyline and their imaginations. It's all about getting that creativity firing and an imaginations firing. And sometimes mine act them out. I actually do have a story time playlist on here, and it's called Tales Through Time. And in that, the children do act out various stories from various points in history. They may be mythology, they may be mythological based, they may be fairy tale based. It varies depending on the time of the year that we're doing it, really, and what the children are discovering at that time. So that playlist does show a good variation in the way that I approach story time with my children. And now obviously it's unrealistic to think that I do that every time I'm doing story time with my children. I really don't. It's like once every 3 months I'll make a big to-do about the whole thing, set up a tough tray relating to it, different activities. We may act it out, we may do puppet shows. It honestly varies at the time. We'll incorporate baking into it too, because that's something they both enjoy. They both enjoy baking. So it is nice to occasionally truly bring them books that they're liking at that moment in time to life. So whatever book is their favourite at that moment, the one they're most invested in, I may bring that to life for them. And I find that's a good way of encouraging a lifelong love of reading as well. It's something I used to do as a child. I used to role play different books that I was invested in at that time. I absolutely loved doing that. My imagination though has always been quite wild, so there's no surprise there really. So, home education supplies was the next topic. And again, I'm probably going to be slightly controversial here too. And yes, it's useful to have an internet connection, a printer, stationery supplies and craft supplies. That list could be endless. In reality, however, you only truly need yourself, your children and a willingness to learn. Libraries, museums, documentaries are generally free resources that you can access when needed. So whilst there is a huge market of resources out there, and yes, many of them are amazing, you could go on forever with them, you really could, you don't actually genuinely need them. You can home ed without all that fluff. And now I'm saying that as somebody who wouldn't be without my books and without my craft and art supplies. But the nitty gritty of it is, the real core essence of it is that you don't need that. You just need a willingness to learn and a willingness to get out there and explore the world. And a lot of families already do that. A lot of world schooling families will only have a few supplies with them on the road, and yet they educate fantastically and offer their children some of the most richest experiences a child could ever have. And my favourite resource has to be cooking with my children. It incorporates reading skills, comprehending and following instructions, mathematics, chemistry, you name it. It combines an awful lot of topics together in a practical application, and that is one of the best ways for our children to learn. So I absolutely love baking with my children. And as I said before, nothing truly beats that hands-on learning experience. So anything that is a hands-on learning experience for my children that I feel will give them good skills in the future, I embrace wholeheartedly. The next one is naysayer comments. And every home educator will have their own stories and their own experiences of this to share. And please feel free to pop them in the comments below. I was truly spoiled for choice on this one. And I did consider socialisation as my focal point, but that one is so common. But that one is such a common misunderstanding about home education that I feel that many of us have covered that topic multiple times. So I decided another one was going to take my focus today. And that was going to be how many times I have heard mum say to me, I'm not smart enough to home educate. And this is probably the misnomer that upsets me the most when it comes to home education. That lack of faith in themselves and their ability to learn and grow as a human being. I find that quite upsetting, to be honest with you. So many parents out there thinking they're not smart enough to only then end up trapped in that very cycle of sending the child to the same system of education that left them feeling not smart enough in the first place. It's like a perpetual cycle. None of them ever feeling smart enough, yet still attending the same establishment, wondering when they're going to feel smarter, wondering when that's going to change. But the thing is, that is by design. That's how you're meant to feel. They educate you enough to be a confident worker, but not confident enough in your own intelligence to go off and do your own thing. And that's by design, but I do have other vlogs that go into that topic in much further detail. But my main response to this is always, anything you don't know, you can learn together. So as long as you as the parent has the willingness to learn as well, then you can home educate. It's not a case of being smart enough. You are smart enough. As long as you have a willingness to learn, you can go out there and you can learn. Believe in yourselves more. And then last but not least, subjects. And I was stuck on this one as well. I mean, if you've watched my prior videos, you'll know that I do cover the core subjects with mine. However, for me, I think history and science tend to be a focal point. The value of both can never be understated. And I do also have vlogs on why I feel that way. I'm not going to go off on one in this vlog because I can ramble for ages. But please do feel free to check them out. However, in this present day and age, the present global situation that we're in, our children need to develop skills that allow them to learn. They need to be able to learn from the past, be subjective and able to think critically, know how to check the value of a source, be able to, some degree, understand and read studies and scientific literature, being able to truly understand propaganda and media manipulation. And growing food is another undervalued skill that can be tied in quite nicely to other topics, especially if you do unit studies or project work. In many respects, we're preparing our children for an unknown future. It is estimated that by 2030, over 90% of our current job market won't exist. So my main emphasis is on building transferable skills, encouraging their passions and creativity, helping them to develop the skills required to seek out and find information, and to find it for themselves too. Because a lot of the time in the school system, that information is provided for them. They're told, this is the facts, this is the book you're going to use, or this is the website you're going to use, and this information is fact. And there you have it. And that leaves little room for self-led discovery about such topics. And that is also a very different approach to further education, such as university. And that is why so many can struggle with that transition. Because real life learning and research does involve delving deep. And if you haven't gained those skills on how to do that, and how to do that research, and how to weigh up those sources, then you're going to find learning by yourself, self-led learning, quite difficult later in life. You're going to find it more of a challenge. But these are skills we can gain and teach ourselves as adults too. And with such an uncertain job market on the horizon, encouraging that skill set for all of us could be advantageous. But who knows? So, worst subjects. Now, Anthony doesn't appreciate anything that might make his hands dirty. He has a thing about having clean hands, and he doesn't like any mess on his hands. So that can instantly make anything like that quite difficult to navigate around. And I regularly find myself doing the painting, the sticking and the gluing under his direction. Now, Nimue doesn't seem to have a least favourite topic. She just tends to throw herself into everything wholeheartedly, to be honest with you. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be geography. But that's more because she's still developing key skills there. But once that clicks into place and she has a deeper understanding, then I don't think she'll find geography much of an issue either. But saying that, she still enjoys the topic itself. I just think it's probably not her greatest strength, because she does have greater strengths than that in other areas. But she doesn't have a least favourite topic at all. Least favourite topic for Anthony would also be anything that involves writing. He has dyspraxia and dyslexia and special educational needs, and writing was always a big block to him because he struggled with reading. However, these days he is overcoming that hurdle, and we are working on different things with him. And he is improving there. He is enjoying it more, and he is starting to write his own cartoons and his own stories too. So I tend to let him run with that, because when he's wanting to write, we'll go with it. But again, I don't push that, but that has to be his least favourite topic. I do try and encourage a little bit of writing each day from him, and he is building on those skills all the time. He's pushing himself out of his comfort zone a lot more these days, and I've been really proud of how far he's come, because he has been pushing himself with the writing a lot recently. But it is still definitely his most least favourite topic. As for my own least favourite topic, at the minute, it's biochemistry. I know that's not related to my children, just at the minute that is my least favourite topic. I have my exams coming up in uni soon, and my nerves are all over the place at this moment in time. So if I had to pick a least favourite topic right now, it would be biochemistry. I don't tend to have a least favourite topic to deliver to the children. If I had to, it'd probably be, I don't know, sit down at a desk maths. But I'm still unsure, to be honest with you, because even that has its benefit. However, I prefer trying to incorporate into more fun activities that way. So yeah, sit down at a desk math, that kind of thing is my least favourite topic. So thanks for watching our first collaboration on Homeschool 101. And thank you to Vickie at Home Educating the Mad Lad for including me in this collaboration and for hosting it. And a big thank you to Maria as well for joining in over at the Richardson Simple Living. Don't forget to check them ladies out, because I'm sure theirs will be jam-packed of information and resources, whereas I think mine ended up being a bit more controversial and more of a rant than anything. But thank you for watching. Any questions, pop them in the comments below.